if you are joining us for this call and you missed last week's call, you may want to go back and listen to that call first, because that call was like part one of what we're talking about tonight. And it's really about how to build this business without this business being your only work, because we have to run our business differently when we have a full-time job and we're moms or wives or sisters, or what, we have all these different hats that we wear. And so the more hats you wear, the more you tend to have some things in place that help you to create boundaries, that help you to make sure that you are doing what needs to be done first, and then all the other extra stuff, I think Christy called them sprinkles last week, that stuff happens if you have time. So with that said, I went back over the call that I did with another team a couple months ago and listened to it again today and took some notes from it to make sure that I was sharing everything with you that I had shared with them. And I wanted to share with you something that I said to them as soon as the call started. And it really hit me today, because I still struggle with this today. And I know that some of you struggle with it too. And that it may be something you need to hear coming from me. When I first hopped on that call with them a couple months ago, I told them flat out that I felt so honored to be asked to speak to their team, but that I also felt extremely unqualified. I felt like I did not have the authority or the success to be on that call with them and to be telling them what I was doing that was making my team flourish, and what I was doing that was making my business excel. Because if you know my story, in the last 5 years or almost 6 years of being a coach, I have hit some extremely high highs in the business. And I also feel like I've had some really low lows. And in the valleys, it's really hard sometimes to see that spot doesn't define you, that where you are right now, the struggle you're in, or the busyness of life, or this season that you're going through, it's not necessarily where you have to stay forever. And it doesn't define where you can go. And it was really in that moment when they asked me to speak on their call, and I was having this little reflection before the call actually started, it was really good for me to realize that even though I didn't feel like I had enough success to be a leader in that moment, I had a story to tell. And I started to think, I'm going through these struggles, and these struggles are impacting my business, and they're impacting all these different things that in my life. Why would someone want me to share this story right now? Sometimes it's really hard to share our story when we don't feel like it's going to necessarily lift someone up. And then it hit me that maybe the reason why God put these things in my life is because that is my story. That's my message. I'm the one that's supposed to say to you, even when it gets really hard and it feels like you never want to lift up the phone again, or you never want to open up your laptop again, or you just want to sit under the blanket and watch Netflix and screw the business, that you have a story to tell. And even if it's not the story you thought it would be, even if it's not the story you wanted it to be, even if it's like a really sad story right now, it needs to be told. Because when you tell it, when you show up and you don't hide because something's not going great, whether you're hiding from our team, or you're hiding from your spouse or your friends, or you're just hiding from your business, the things that you love to do, those things, that is you not using the gift that you've been given. And we all need to show up even when it's hard. And I think for so many of us, that's our excuse. That is the excuse when it comes to, I can't work my business because I work full time and I don't have time for that. I don't necessarily think it's about time. I don't necessarily think that it's about you feeling stretched thin. We all feel stretched thin. And to be honest, even if we weren't Beachbody coaches, we would feel stretched thin because we have so many other hats that we're wearing. I think the problem is that we don't realize our worth. We think because we're not perfect, because we don't show up every single day wearing our best, because we don't have the cute gym outfit, or because we don't have Success Club 25, that we're not worthy of being a leader, or we're not worthy of being a business owner. And y'all, posting on social media doesn't make you a business owner. Inviting and growing and showing up when shit gets hard, that's what makes you a business owner. And that's what we're all here to do. We're all here to own a business. So I just wanted to share that with you because there have been times since 2018, actually since I guess it was early 2018 when we experienced the team split. And I'm just going to be completely candid with you. I still struggle with that. I still have my moments of self-doubt. I still have my moments of feeling completely inferior as a leader and as a coach. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to understand that even though I feel that way, I feel that way a lot actually. Even though I feel that way, I show up. Like never have I said, you know what? I don't feel like I'm a leader, so I'm going to not have a team call. I've never said, I don't feel like I'm not leading the way they are, or I'm not coaching the way they are. I can't run my business the way she can. So I guess I'm just going to quit. That's never been an option for me. And it needs to not be an option for you, even when your business doesn't look like somebody else's. Y'all, I started this business kind of on accident. And the only reason why I've stuck with it is because, well, two reasons. A, I believe in it wholeheartedly, without a doubt, that we're changing lives, saving lives. But B, I get to do it my way. Nobody is telling me when to show up. Nobody's telling me what to wear when I show up. Nobody's telling me what to say, when to say it, how to do it. I get to do all that. And I'll be quite honest, if somebody was telling me what to do and when to do it, this wouldn't be my jam. So this is your thing. Sometimes showing up is going to feel super impossible. Sometimes it's going to feel really disingenuous or inauthentic, but you got to do it anyway. And no, you don't have to air all your mess and all your dirty laundry on social media, but you do need to keep showing up and show people that even when life knocks you down, even when you feel like you just will never be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you're not going to give up, because this isn't a season for us. What we're experiencing is a season, but this business, we've all decided that this is our lifestyle. This isn't a phase for us. This isn't something we're just trying out to see how it goes. We're in it, and this is life. And so we're not going to stop showing up just because something else got hard. We might not be able to show up in the same way, but we're going to keep showing up. In those moments, you have the opportunity. So in your moment right now, for those of you that are really hoping tonight's call gives you the secret sauce or teaches you exactly what you need to do in order to make a full-time income and part-time hours, I'm gonna give you a little come to Jesus here for a second. In those moments when you feel that way, are you one of the ones that's pulling away, or are you one of the ones that's leaning in? Because I'll be honest with you, last year when I was, or 2 years ago when I was in the dark place, I leaned in. I couldn't have survived without you. And I still showed up on social media. It was messy. Oh my God, it was messy. The memories are popping up on my Facebook feed every day now from 2 years ago and a year ago. And yeah, it wasn't always pretty, and it certainly wasn't rainbows and butterflies. But you know what? Nobody said Lindsay disappeared. Nobody can say Lindsay stopped showing up. Nobody can say that I have failed. Nobody can say anything. I also did not air any of my dirty laundry. I just kept showing up. So if you're one of those people who finds yourself saying, well, this time of day is just really hard for me, or this day of the week is just really hard for me, or I have a hard time doing this with my business, or I just don't like inviting, it makes me feel icky, then my question to you is that just you pulling back because it is a little bit uncomfortable? Or is that you saying legitimately, I'm not cut out for this? Because I tend to think that it's you pulling back when you know in your heart you need to be leaning in. And you need to lean in the moments when it feels like you're not going to survive. So I want you to take away this from that little story. It is never too late to invent who you are or who you want to be and where you want to go. Hear me when I say that. In 2017, I was an elite coach. Y'all, I've maintained my 2-star diamond coach since then, but as far as my 5-star diamond, I haven't seen it since. And that in some days makes me feel like an epic failure as a coach. There are months like right now where I'm still sitting at SC0. And there are moments during my day when I go to invite and I think, why? No one's going to say yes. People are just going to say no. But I do it anyway. Because if I don't do it, then how can I sit here and tell you that you should do it? How can I sit here and tell you that that's the way you build a full-time income on part-time hours? It is never too late. You have never missed the mark. You have every opportunity to decide right now, tonight, what your business is going to look like in 2020, who you want to be, what legacy you want to leave, how you want people to remember you. It doesn't matter that in 2017, I was an elite coach, and in 2018, my world came crumbling down, and in 2020, it's getting built back up. None of that matters. What matters is that today I'm deciding those things that were really crappy that happened don't define me anymore. They're not who I am inside, and they're not going to hold me back. What happens today is I decide I'm going to be an elite coach again, or I'm going to be a certain rank, or I'm going to change 25 lives in the next 3 months, or whatever your goal is. I'm going to bring in enough money to take my kids to Disney World. What is your goal? Because that's who you want to be. You can make the decision right now to invent yourself in that role today. Doesn't matter what happened last month, last week, last night. What matters is your mindset now. And the only way you're ever going to build a full-time income in part-time hours is if you decide right now that whatever successes or failures or stumbling blocks have occurred in your past don't determine the now or the future. None of that stuff determines the present or the future. You do. I cannot hang on to the fact that I'm a 2017 elite coach. Guys, it's 2020, time for me to move on, right? I also can't hang on to the fact that a couple years ago, shit got hard. What I have to hang on to is that right now I'm in a good place. I have an amazing community surrounding me, including this team, and it's time for me to bust through the roof. And that's what you need to decide. It doesn't matter if you took time off. Doesn't matter if you're busy. Doesn't matter if you've had a baby or got married or whatever major life things have happened, because lots of life has happened, right? Lots of life happens every day. What matters is what you decide to do with it. Now, I want you to keep in mind that if you're trying to build a business, 80% of your work time, depending on however many hours you work your business, 80% of it needs to be on your personal business. I found myself several months ago trying to run my business the way I saw other people running their businesses, because I kept comparing myself to them, thinking I wasn't as successful as a leader because my business looked different. Well, my business looks different because my life looks a lot different. And that we just need to embrace that. What we need to do is realize that we need to stop doing for so much for so many other people and do what needs to happen for our business first. What I mean when I say that is, a couple months ago, I bet I was spending 40% of my work hours on my business and 60% on trying to build up our team. Running the flash sales, creating the graphics, doing the marketing calendars, trying to keep up with graphics for shout outs, doing all the things. And as much as I love doing all those things, my business was crumbling around me because I was doing so much to help everyone else that my business was left floundering. It was being neglected. So it hit me by working with Josh Coates. 80% of my work time needs to be my business. 20% needs to be for everybody else. When I say that, I mean invites to your business or to your challenge groups are much more important than creating content for your challenge groups or scheduling your posts for challenge groups. Now, don't hear me say it's okay to let that stuff slide, because that is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you need to schedule that stuff in. Your invites should be happening on a daily basis. Yes, your challenge group is a priority, but what's top priority? You have to, when you're working a full-time job and you're trying to build this business, you have to have a priority. And the priority should be building the business. If you're not inviting, you're not building a business. If you're maintaining your challenge groups and your current customers are happy, that is fantastic, because that in itself is its own struggle. But don't expect to increase your income. Don't expect to increase your rank. Don't expect to increase Success Club numbers if that's the focus of your business. And like I said, there are seasons of life. And if your version of showing up through this season of life right now is just keeping that challenge group running strong, then that's okay. But understand it's a season. This business is not a season. What you're experiencing outside of it is the season. So you can't let that season overrun your entire business for the rest of your life. I knew when I was going through a really hard season that if I let my business slip, my income was going to go down. It was going to be really hard for me to afford my home for my children, and our lifestyle was going to change dramatically. That was my why. That's what made me show up when I didn't want to show up. So I urge you to revisit your why and think about when stuff gets hard, what are you going to do to make sure that your business doesn't slip? Because how would it impact your family if it did? Being a servant is really good. It is so great. Y'all know, like, servant heart is one of my claims to fame. Like, I think serving others and helping other people is one of my core values. However, you have to have boundaries. You have to. And I struggled with that for a really long time. But in order to be successful in building a business while also taking care of your house and keeping your family fed and alive and happy and thriving and working and getting enough sleep and pushing play for your own journey every day, you have to have some boundaries. So yes, help people, but don't allow yourself to be a doormat. Don't allow yourself to be available 24/7. I learned the hard way that getting in bed at 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night is not the time to open up my phone and start replying to messages or check in with challengers or coaches, because all that does is make the next day that much harder for me to show up. If you're feeling, so I will say this, if you are constantly putting other people over your own business, like if you're constantly taking care of this or doing this or checking in with this or watching this person's stories so that you can comment to them and know what's going on in their life and all that, you're going to feel overwhelmed and you're going to feel underwhelmed. Let me explain. Overwhelmed because you're going to feel like you don't have time to work this business because you're too busy doing things that don't have to be done. There are things that are the sprinkles, like Christy was talking about. Like, they're just the fun stuff that you get to do later if you have the time. You have to get the important stuff done first. If you don't make the cupcake, there's nothing to put the sprinkle on. So you gotta do first things first. And first things first is our vital behaviors. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, like if you feel like this is just too much, like you don't even have time to hop on a team call or do PD or whatever, then you got to figure out what you're missing. What are you spending too much time on, and what do you need to go back and refocus on? If you're feeling underwhelmed, it's because you're spending so much time on those things that you feel maybe are important, or maybe they're the things you enjoy. Because I mean, there's definitely, I would much rather pop into my challenge group and cheer on my girls than send some invites. Let's just be real. Like that's a lot safer, right? And it's a lot more enjoyable because those girls are like, yeah, Lindsay, you go too, girl. And instead I'm over here inviting, hearing, no, not right now, but thanks for thinking of me. It's a lot nicer to hop in that challenge group with people who have the same mindset. But that's going to leave you feeling underwhelmed because you're not going to see any growth from that. any growth in you. Let's just be real. I mean, honestly, I am such a different person today than I was when I started this journey. And it's because of the internal growth that has stemmed from all the things we do. Your income's not going to grow. Nothing's going to grow. And you're going to feel underwhelmed. That's when you start to look at these other MLM opportunities or these other things people are doing, and you start to think, maybe that would be a better opportunity for me. No, sis, it's not. It's not a better opportunity. You just need to get your priorities straight, because I'm going to assure you, if you can't get it straight here with us, you might do okay somewhere else for a little while, and then the same thing's going to happen. Life doesn't stop happening just because you chose something different. It's still going to happen. Stuff's still going to feel hard. You still are going to feel overwhelmed. You've got to make the decision to lean in and show up. This is super important. And I think that we forget. That the team page is for the team. It's not the Lindsay show. It's not a place where I just go in to post and communicate with you. It's for all of us to use. Y'all, the easiest way to run this business is the same exact way I run my classroom. Share, share, share. Make everything duplicatable. If you make something and it's working for you, share it in the team page. If you're trying to figure out what's working for other people and you can't, ask in the team page. Do you guys ever visit our Google Drive? Do you know how many things we've created in there that would be so duplicatable for you to use? All you have to do is make a copy and then change the name from like Christy or Lindsay to your name. Like everything's there for you. So much good stuff. So stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Don't make this harder than it is. That marketing calendar, I spend a lot of time on that marketing calendar every month. How many of you follow it? How many of you pull it up and say, what am I supposed to be inviting to this week? How many of you are inviting? These are the things we need to do to build that full-time income in part-time hours. Follow your business activity tracker. When someone comes to me and says, I'm having a really hard time managing my time, I just don't feel like I have time, I always say, well, what tracker are you using? And almost every time they say, I'm not. Guys, it's there. It is so there. Like the business activity tracker that Beachbody created even tells you how much time to spend on each thing. If you're having a hard time managing your time, then set a timer on your phone and follow the schedule they made. Reach out to your success partner. Reach out to the team. Show up for a power hour. Tomorrow night, we have a power hour from 8 to 9. Get on the power hour and you follow a schedule. Copy and paste stuff. I just posted yesterday some post, or I don't know, Friday, about momming, about like being a Pinterest mom or a fit mom or whatever. Guys, I wrote that 3 years ago, and every year I copy and paste it. And every year it gets loads of feedback and connections. All I do is copy and paste. I have a running record of Instagram and Facebook posts in my notes section of my phone. And I go in there, if I wrote it 3 years ago and it doesn't apply to that day, this year, right now, I just copy and paste it into my notes. And next week when I'm having a hard time figuring out what to write, I'll go into my notes and copy and paste that. And yeah, I might change up the wording a little bit to make sure it's still relevant, but I'm not reinventing the wheel. Your payday posts, that should just be a given. Every Thursday, you should have a payday post. Like that's so duplicatable. I mean, you can literally use the same post like every other week, and it's okay. Google Docs. We have so many things in our drive. I try every month now with the marketing calendar to share something. For example, the invites that I shared with you last month, those all came from the Google Drive. They're not something I just reinvented. Use forms instead of having calls or checking in one-on-one with your new challengers. For example, when someone is new to Beachbody On Demand and they don't know how to go through Beachbody On Demand, Christy created an amazing form for us last year or the year before that literally teaches them how to go through all that stuff. Teaches them what to look for in our challenge group, teaches them how to navigate Beachbody On Demand and all that. So instead of you spending 30 minutes texting back and forth with them explaining it, send them that form and tell them to text you when they're done with it. It literally walks them through what to do. Saves you a whole lot of time that you could be using to do the invites and the follow-ups. Now, this last two things are probably the most important. Number 4, this one's number 4, our flash sale and launch events. Guys, those, like, it boggles me that we don't participate in those, that we don't invite to those, because that right there is like, you know what Black Friday is for like all the stores? A flash sale or a launch event is like Black Friday for our business. Like, people are in there because they want to know what we're selling. They want to know what we have to offer. They've made the conscious decision to get out of their bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and stand in line at Target to go in and get the thing, right? These people made the conscious decision to go into our flash sale group or our launch group to sit there and let us show them what this new and improved and amazing thing is going to do for them and their family and their lives. They've already signed up. They're already interested. You're not trying to sell them or convince them or encourage them to choose you or to choose this. They've done it to a degree. Now you just need to explain to them why. So if you're not inviting to the launch event for 10 rounds, which I'm going to come in live to the team page and talk more about this week, if you are not inviting to that, if you're not talking about these things, if you are not going all in when we have a flash sale and going back and following up with every single person who ever said money was an issue, why? I mean, the group is there. The graphics are there. I'm not asking you to do extra work. I've done that for you. All you need to do is invite them to it. And then once they're in there, engage with them. Show them what we have to offer. Give some input. Interact. Use the group to do the hard stuff for you. If inviting and following up and like closing is really hard for you, that's what this group is for. Use it. If time management is not your specialty, if you're a busy person, put them in this group where half the work is already done. You don't have to tell them what the packages are. You don't have to tell them what the perks are. You don't have to show them before and afters or answer loads of questions, because we're all in the group together doing it together. That is a huge time saver. So if you're someone who has not utilized our flash sales or our launch events, I really, really, really want to encourage you to try it this time, to try it for 10 rounds. I really think personally that this is a program that most people are going to love, because not only is it a great workout, you don't need equipment, but it's a stress relief. Like, I don't know about you, but when, not MM100, oh Lord, what was Jericho's first program? It's not coming to my mind. I can't think of it. When I would do that program, I felt like I was beating the crap out of somebody. And some days I really needed to beat the crap. Yes, Core-to-Force. Thank you, Christy. I knew someone would think of it. I really needed to beat the crap out of somebody, but apparently that's not really looked highly upon, so I couldn't do it. So instead, I would push play on Core-to-Force. And it solved a lot of problems. So the number 5 thing, and y'all have heard me say this, I said it in the last call, and I'm going to say it again. You have to have a schedule. There is absolutely no way to run this business. Even if this is your full-time gig, there is no way to run this business without a schedule. You are going to find yourself being a slave to your phone if you try to run this business without a schedule. You need to know what you need to do. You need to know when you are going to do it, you need to know where you are going to do it, and you need to know for how long you are going to do it. So when I say what you need to do, I mean, if you're a busy person, chances are you're not going to be able to do the entire business activity tracker every single day. So what 3 things do you need to get done today? What are you inviting to? Who are you following up with? What I do a lot of times is I pick a picture that I've posted that a lot of people have liked or commented on. And I spend the first chunk of my time going through every single person who liked it and every single person who commented on it and inviting them, thanking them for supporting me, engaging with them, connecting with them, and inviting them. If that's always my number 1 task. My number 2 task is almost always following up. My number 3 task, it depends on the day. My number 4 task, if I still have time left over, is typically like scheduling my challenge group posts or going into the team page and scheduling several things to add value to you, to add personal development to you, those kinds of things. When is it going to happen? I take 2 days a week after school for an hour to work my business. The other times I fit in the morning, I fit in at different times throughout my day, but I have it written in my calendar what days I'm staying after school from 3 to 4. I know what I'm going to do when I'm there. I told you last week, I make the little boxes, I make my little list, and I check them off as I complete them. And then I have the time written down. It literally says BB 3 to 4, Beachbody 3 to 4. Where? I usually do it in my classroom. I usually close my classroom door, sit at my desk. I usually bring my personal laptop to school, or I decide to just use my phone that day. And I sit in my classroom for that amount of time with my little to-do list, and I keep the door closed so people don't come in and try to talk to me and hang out with me. And I know if I'm there in my room, first of all, that's my workplace, so it feels like the appropriate place to work. Second of all, my kids aren't there, so I can focus there. And for how long? You need to know how long you're going to do each task. So again, if you struggle with that, the business activity tracker has it all laid out. I like to personally play a song and say, for this entire song, I'm going to invite to all these people that liked this picture. Or for this entire song, I'm going to do this task. And as long as the song is playing, I do it, which means if I've invited all 50 people who have commented on my picture and the song's still going, then I go figure out more people to invite. For the next song, maybe I'm adding friends on Facebook. For the next song, maybe I'm messaging people that I've met through my local moms group. Those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to be successful. It's just like I think of it this way. My mornings are planned and scheduled to the wire. I know that I have to be out of bed by this time in order to have my Energize drink and my pants on and play pushed by this time, so that I'm done sweating and stretching by this time, because at this time I have to be in the shower. If I'm not in the shower at this time, I'm probably not going to have the kids awake in time, which means we're not going to get out the door in time, which means I'm not going to be at morning pickup on time. My mornings are very scheduled. I hate that about them. I don't like mornings like that. I don't like boom, 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 boom schedule. But I also know if it's not like that, then it won't happen. So it's the same thing with my business. I have to have it scheduled. I also tend to do a lot better when I have a workout calendar I'm following, when I have someone telling me what to do each day. Last week, I didn't have that because I knew I had a week off before I started the Ultimate Reset. So I was like, oh, I'll just do a couple of my favorites from Beachbody On Demand. I did a couple of my favorites, but I also struggled to get my butt out of bed because I wasn't looking forward to checking it off the calendar. I also struggled to decide what to do when. What day do I do cardio? What day do I make my rest day? I like to have a plan. When I don't have a lot going on, when I don't have a calendar or a schedule to follow, I tend to on work days at school, sometimes I get a whole lot of nothing done. because there's no bell ringing, there's no meeting at a certain time, there's no like place I need to be or anything I need to be ready for. I've got the whole day to work. Well, guess what happens when you think you have all this time to get it done? Not a lot gets done. So you're in a position when you work full time and you're running this business that you don't have endless amounts of time to be doing it. So figure out what needs to get done, when it's going to happen, how long it's going to happen, and where you're going to do it so that when you're working, you are 100% focused. I have a really hard time working at home when my kids are here. A, mom guilt. I want to be with them. B, I have like ADD. I can't focus when they're running around, the TV's on, or anything like that. So I know I have to schedule it and I have to make sure I'm in a place where I can work. Now, some people can't listen to music while they work because you can't focus then. Some people have to listen to music when they work. Figure out what works for you and then do it. I think the biggest message here is stop feeling any which way about your business. Stop thinking you're too busy, or stop thinking that you're not successful because your business doesn't look like her business. Think about the fact that your life doesn't look like her life, that your season doesn't look like her season, and instead make your business work for you. We've got to get away from just expecting magic to happen. And we have to take a step back and really ask ourselves, what am I doing to make it happen? Because it is on us. It is. And so those times in my business where I've struggled to hit Success Club and I've fallen rank and I've, just not invited, that's on me. I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm not going to let it define me. But I also know that I'm not going to let it happen again because I get to decide how successful or unsuccessful my business will be. I'm not responsible for your business, and you're not responsible for my business. We have to take ownership of this. I see over here that I put in Bruce's head that it's time to go to Disney World. Sorry, Mom. Yes, the documents that Christy makes are amazing. I copy and paste them and change it to sound like me because we don't all talk the same. So make it sound like you, because they're amazing. I'm so glad the marketing calendar's been good, Cynthia. That's awesome. All right. Are there any questions or any suggestions that anybody would like to share for things that work for you if you tend to be one of those busy people that has to make this fit? All right. I know I went a little bit over, so I will say this. I love you, and I hope you have a great week.